I had a question asked of me after my last video, the episode 3, and this is why I really like feedback, because it allows me different topics and discussions. It also means that I'm giving you something that you actually want. I'm giving you the answers and the content that you would like to hear. So I love it. I love the feedback and I love the questions. So the question was, please let us know, or let me know, how do you remap your brain? How does that work for you? It's a very interesting question, because it's probably one of the hardest things to do. So I've been giving it some thought to try and simplify the answer without taking away from the enormity of the importance of remapping, rewiring your brain. I think during COVID, something that blew up was couch to 5 kilometers. Now, if you take that as an example, if the method was get up, put on your running shoes and go and run 5 kilometers, wouldn't work. So it's bite-sized chunks. It's a little bit, and a little bit more all the time. Now, the concept behind that is to do what you're comfortable with. Do what you're able to cope with. That doesn't push you too far out of your comfort zone that makes you want to stop. It pushes you far enough out the comfort zone to realize this is okay. So, using the analogy of the couch to 5 kilometer, you might put on your running gear, and in the first couple of mornings you might just walk to the top of the driveway, and for you that is enough, and for somebody else it might be to the end of the road, and for the next person it might be to go around the block, and each one is good enough. What you're trying to get your brain to understand, that the message that you, or in my situation, I have been giving my brain, that nobody will understand me, nobody will accept me. The things I've done, the things I've gone through are mine and mine alone to deal with, and therefore I've hidden away and kept them a secret for so long, is daunting to come out and tell others, because there's no ways in my mind a year ago would I believe that anybody would support me or be supportive in the sense of helping me along my journey to move forward. So the key element is you don't want to do too much that it stops you doing anymore. You want to do just enough that your brain and yourself, you sort of feel, that actually went better than I thought it would. That wasn't as difficult as I thought. So let me relay that back to my situation. After all these years, I knew I couldn't continue. That was a given. I knew that I was spiraling out of control and going on I'd hit rock bottom. And I think sometimes in a serious situation like mine, where it becomes overwhelming and it takes over your life, sometimes we need to hit rock bottom, and we can't pull ourselves out until it's staring us in the face. And I think that's where often people go off the rails, and where we hear of terrible things happening and people doing terrible things to themselves, where they hit rock bottom and they just can't see their way out. But I think you need to get there. I think you need to get to the point where something shakes you up and makes you realize that you've got to change, which I got to that point. So how did I do it? How did I start remapping and rewiring my brain? And it's a long process. I'm nowhere near finished. First thing I did I actually found somebody that was, in relative terms, a stranger. They didn't really know my past, they didn't know my background, they weren't connected to the family, they weren't they didn't know too much about me. And we had struck up a friendship, had quite a bit in common. And it sounds almost nasty, but it's almost like my safe space. If this person listened to parts of my story and treated me the way my brain told me everybody would treat me, or react the way everybody in my mind would react, it was quite easy. I could cut them off. It wasn't like there was any connection. There wasn't a family tie. I wasn't going to have awkward moments where I would bump into them at family functions or friends. So I found I had this friend who I could talk to, and for me the safe space was that if I had to cut them off, I could. Now it sounds terrible, but that gave me the comfort to talk. It gave me the comfort to share and gauge their reaction. And over a couple of weeks I just dropped little bits of information, little bits of my past, a bit about my struggles, and they didn't treat me any differently. And again, being fortunate, I was able to divulge more and more and more. And when that was more positive than I had told myself the outcome would be, I expanded that circle and I chose somebody else. So like the couch to 5 kilometer, you now go from the top of the driveway to the end of the road. So I chose a second person, somebody a bit closer. And again, I just dropped pockets of information, pockets of my past. And it was fun. So slowly but surely, I realized that the outcome was not going to be as bad as I anticipated. Once I told a few people different aspects, not everything. I had not divulged my entire life and all the rest of it, but once I told a few people snippets about the bits that I thought would be unacceptable, and it was acceptable, it became easier. And then I was very fortunate to have found somebody in March of this year who was phenomenal. My 16th counselor therapist, and then together, what I thought was quite interesting, because we had a limited time, we knew I was going off on this journey, so we had a very limited time, and it was almost like speed therapy. I was given tasks and challenges to do on a weekly basis, and because I was running out of time, I just did them. And those tasks were of the same nature. It was, okay, who are you going to tell what this week? How much are you going to share this week? And then we'd reflect on it in the next session. And every single time it was better than I anticipated. And that is how I am slowly remapping, rewiring my brain. These sessions, this talking, the comments I'm getting back are remapping and rewiring my brain. The positive input from everybody that is turning around and saying, we support you. Those that are doing it in private and those that are doing it on the comment section. That is remapping and rewiring my brain. So it's a long process, slow process, but it works. I've got to re-educate my mind. I've got to remap the neurons and the way I think. I gotta change 43 years of blueprints. So I don't know if that explains how I'm doing it and how it's working for me. I'd love to have more discussion on this and more feedback, because I think it's a very, very interesting topic. I think so many of us talk ourselves out of moving forward before we've even tried. And it's not, it doesn't make you negative, or it is just a very, very powerful emotion, that fear, that anxiety, that worry of what other people will think, say, do. But you can overcome it. Slowly, small steps, and you move forward. So let me know if that helps. Let me know if that gives you some clarity as to how I'm doing it. And if any of you have had similar experiences, would be great to share.